and this is really the meat and potatoes of why Zinzino is going crazy and why we need to go crazy with it: monopoly, timing, and urgency. And I'm going to go very quickly through this, but if you have questions, I'll take them all, but after I'm done, okay? So just let me roll through this. Last week, I spelled out why we have a monopoly. You know, it's exclusive control of supply that is in high demand. That's a monopoly, right? Bell Telephone, Standard Oil, Microsoft Windows. I could go on and on and on. Apple iPhone. Not really a monopoly, but you know that one product took them to the highest market cap in the history of mankind, $3 trillion, and they've dominated their market. Whether they have an official monopoly or not, I don't care. That's beyond the scope of my point. My point is, when you tell someone we have a blooming monopoly in the nutrition market, boom, that gets people's attention right away because of the terminology. If there is a single seller in a market and there's no close substitute for that product, then it looks like you got a pure monopoly. Again, I'm not debating whether or not we have an actual monopoly. I'm using effective terminology to ingrain in the prospect or the guest or the customer's head what we have here. And I hope that's happening right now for you, okay? Because we got the Zinzino monopoly laying right here in front of us. And what you choose to do with that is up to you. Whether you turn that into a free trip to Oslo, whether you turn that into a director trip to Bali, whether you turn that into 10 grand a month that pays you a crazy income for the next 15, 20 years, or whether you sit on the sideline and you watch Henry Vigent make $1 million in the next 10 years, hey, that's up to you. I'm just going to share it and let you decide what you want to do as we explain this to the masses. So here you go. Here's the explanation. Test-based nutrition. No other company has that, not only in network marketing, in the entire nutrition industry. It's an unfair advantage that we have. And guess how the only way you're going to make money on that is to go and run your mouth, which, you know, for people like me is not a problem. We have a patented product, and it's very hard to copy that. Scientifically, economically, to be able to afford that, it's very hard to copy. And we have in writing from the company, right on the report we get when we get our test score, our product has a 95% success rate. I was telling that to the chiropractor that we were on the phone with yesterday. When have you heard of a product having a 95% success rate of doing what we say it does? It's unheard of. You can't even get 95% of people to take the product responsibly on a regular basis, let alone get 95% to have the results that you want, the intended results. That's insane. No one else has that. Nobody else has in the omega-3 market the ability to get 95% of their customers where they need to be in the safe zone with that omega-3 ratio, which is tied to jacking their omega-3 absorption in their body, which is also one of the things that our test reports on. Just incredible to me. And you guys have heard ad nauseum about all of that, so I don't even need to talk about it anymore. But of course we will. But the massive infrastructure that Zinzino has put in place also makes the Zinzino castle, the fortress, impenetrable because they built a moat around the infrastructure. They don't own the lab. The testing lab, Vitas Analytical Services, is independent, not owned by Zinzino. That adds credibility to the story. But they own everything else. They own the manufacturers of the bottle. I always got to have my bottle right here with me. And they own the distribution network. So they've got it, you know, from end to end. People used to rave about how Sony Corporation in Japan it was a vertical market where they owned every step of the way from concept and R&D to manufacturing to distribution. They own the whole thing. And because of that, it was really hard to bust into their fortress. And Microsoft did the same thing with Windows when they put in the internet browser inside Windows. And then, of course, it took like 2 decades for the U.S. Government to go, that's an unfair monopoly. You need to let other internet browsers into Windows. That's a whole nother conversation. And 20 years from now, if somebody deems Zinzino to be a monopoly, it needs to be busted up, we'll all be really upset as we're drowning in our cash when that happens. And then the track record here also just indestructible. 1.5 million people tested. We already have the largest database in place to create incredible data for clinical studies from that. And that number is going to be tens of millions soon. It's going to grow out of control, and no one's going to be able to compete with that. There are going to be copycats that are coming, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. And of course, in our head start, our customer to rep ratio is not, part of a quote monopoly, but that's also unmatched in the history of direct sales. And that's something else that will be very attractive to veteran networkers, people that have been in MLM before, that you'll want to share that idea with also, our unmatched customer to rep ratio. So right now, Zinzino, again, this is my personal opinion, it's a playground for medical professionals and health nuts. It's way too complicated for the average person. That's the initial take with someone who is not savvy, or experienced in the medical community or nutrition community. And so we want to change that. And we are working on that in a big way. And thank you to Henry and Will and a bunch of other people that are going to be instrumental in making this palatable for the masses. When we have common people waving paychecks, that will be way too strong to ignore. Number one, the average Joe out there, okay, wrong name. The average person out there, the average John out there, is going to look at other ordinary people, not, Fred Brown, MD, or, Stuart Tomk, the Omega man who's been in the industry for 30 years. They don't look duplicatable on their face, but, Joe Smith, who comes in here and does not have a medical background, does not have, a nutrition industry background, but goes out there and works hard and gets to a $10,000 check, that will bring on the masses, make it doable. Then we're going to have testimony videos. This is really exciting. I'm so fired up about this. And as we roll out our testimony video, which is right around the corner, that's going to be way too strong for people to ignore. We're going to simplify the comp plan, make it, again, very doable, because no one's done that yet, which is mind-boggling to me. And then our marketing system is going to flood the market. We're going to reach the masses, and we're going to make it easy to do that for everybody. So that is our competitive advantage on this team and why we're going to the moon. And that's why you need to get moving quickly to get 20 or 30 leaders in here, 20 of your friends, and you need to, go to them and have a serious conversation. Hey, 5 minutes. You need to see what's going on here. This is going to happen without me, and it's going to happen without you. It's going to happen. So the question is, it's Microsoft 1985. We just introduced Windows, and we went public. Do you want a piece of this? Wait a minute, Microsoft, what are you talking about? That's the analogy to Zinzino. They're public. The test is out there, and we are racing to grab market share, just like Windows did back in 1985. I was there, and I watched it happen. I sat on the sideline, didn't make a penny from it, but I watched it happen. It was fun. So with that perfect setup, we have a limited window, and that's where the urgency comes in. Monopoly timing. The monopoly is there. The timing is now to grab market share. So you have to have urgency. And this right here, this word, we're not talking about it. I can't even believe it. It's another thing. It's like, I'm urgent, but I haven't told everybody else, you got to be urgent. So you got to tell everybody, you got to be urgent. And timing is always limited. It's massively important to be urgent if you have a monopoly. And it really doesn't even matter if we have a monopoly or not. Timing is always limited when you are in a massive growth window. And I'm going to show you that right here, because competition is not sleeping. The copycats are coming. And that is usually the biggest threat, the copycats on the internet browser. I mean, how many internet browsers popped up and competed with Microsoft's, what was that stupid thing called? I can't remember. And Netscape came out, and, then the Google browser, there was like 20 others, and not going through the history of all that. But the point is, all of these things could limit our growth. Copycats, legal issues. I could see certain organizations trying to slap us with some type of lawsuit, or saying we're doing something illegal. All that stuff can come. I'm not really worried about it, though. This actually is a possibility. This happens all the time. A product distribution problem, something's back ordered. We just experienced this, right, Will? When you and Henry bought up the entire company's supply of FICOSci, and the rest of us couldn't get it. I'm just kidding. But they were smart. They went and they bought 5 or 6 bottles. And then, next thing we knew, the stuff was back ordered for like 2 months. This happens all the time. That's another reason why you want to move quickly. Look at that. Love it. Very nice, Henry, with his FICOSci. By the way, I've been drinking that every day, only because I got a bottle from Will last month. But then I put that on my auto ship, and now I'm getting it. My new bottle will be here tomorrow. Yay. I'm not worried about any of these 3, but I am worried about this next one. The biggest threat to grab massive market share, the biggest threat to you. You ready? Duh. Other reps in the company. That's how you're going to miss out. Now, you may get to 10 grand a month. You may make $1 million in the next 10 years, but you might not make $1 million a year. You may get to 5,000 a month, and you may miss out on getting to 50 grand a month or 100 grand a year. That's the biggest threat to you, to me right now. I hope you get that, okay? Because we've got to move with urgency to take a market share, or you're not going to get the momentum that's required for blast off. When you're flying a plane, to get in the air, you've got to get up to hundreds of miles an hour to get off the ground. That's momentum. That's what you got to do right here. What do you got to do to get your plane off the ground? You've got to get dozens of people running right now. Okay. Henry, you got to say something here?
Yeah, talking like that is really true. For instance, there's a few people that Will and I know mutually, or you and I know mutually, right? And if I took a month off and all of a sudden Will contacted that person, that'd be on Will's team. Conversely, there's people that will be like, dang it, Henry contacted him. It happens. Matter of fact, I actually know somebody on Will's team that was on my list. And I was like a day.
I was just going to say, we could talk about you and how you were like, no.
I hate that feeling. Yes.
Right. So anyways, it happens. And don't take it wrongly. Don't let it weigh you down. It's happened to me hundreds of times in my tenure. So the only thing that you can do is, like John says, create your goals. I recommend do it per minimum, reach out to 5 people per day. Just 5 texts a day. You follow up with 2 or 3. If you do that consistently every single day, it will happen. And consistency always.
And if they want to pursue the business, they're going to say, hey, Henry texted me first. Henry told me about this first. I mean, that is the ticket, what you just said.
exactly. I actually reached out to a person, and they were like, "Oh, I heard about this." I'm like, "Did you take the test?" Well, no. I'm like, "Would you like to take the test?" Sure. And that person brought in a half a dozen people. So it just happens. Certainly, when it comes to recruiting and stuff, I have to say one thing. In all my life, I was considered a very strong recruiter. Not the best in products. Okay. Matter of fact, bare minimums to get me by, and I was just hyper focused on recruiting. That's totally different here. This product actually sells itself, and all you do is put yourself in a line of people. Um, and I have to say this: if you take your test and you put it on social media, I failed my test. Right? You're not getting any people to start looking your way. I failed my test. A couple months later, I recommend after 2 months taking a retest if you're a networker, because why wait 4 months? You're going to get 80-90% of your bang for your buck in 2 months. For me, I want to get my score right away. As soon as I put my second test, I had so many people contact me. How do I get the test? And that's why I had such a big customer growth. Now, I actually had a conversation with two customers yesterday. They got their test. Oh, I was so worried. I'm like, you're still below normal. That's great. And she's like, well, my only goal right now is to get 2 more customer referrals so I get my product for free. What just happened? We just turned a customer into a rep, and they don't even know about it.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Anyways, go
All
ahead.
right, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Before we go any further, Will, I did want to ask you, speaking of urgency, you've been in the networking world for 40 years. Have you ever seen a situation like this we have with Zenzino?
Well, of course, but not nearly on the magnitude of what Zenzino is. I mean, I've been again in the industry for a lot of years. I've seen a lot of companies, the good, the bad, the ugly, but I've never been as excited. And I know I don't show it a lot. I need to be more enthusiastic and bouncing off the walls because that's how I feel inside. But I'm very passive and reserved as my character. But the urgency in several things. First of all, the management has to be solid. Every company I've ever been with, the management has been the issue. They lost the plot as far as doing the right thing and the integrity. The product is the second thing on the list. We have a product second to none, and we can prove it. The biggest issue, provable. The comp plan then rolls in at number 3 because, yeah, we need to make money. I've made more money here faster than any other company I have started in the first few months in my history. So in 40 years, I've made far more here than any other company I've been with. And then just like you're talking about, the urgency, the timing is perfect. And our market share, anybody who hits the ground running is going to be so happy instead of regretting it. And every time I get on a call, every time I see a corporate call, I'm looking for a name of who should I have called that I didn't, like Henry was saying. And that's my biggest fear is somebody's going to get to somebody that I know before I do. And so we all need to get
Great point.
The urgency of a binary plan, which we have a hybrid binary. You'll run into people that hate binaries. Say, okay, I understand that, but what if you had a binary that was a hybrid that had some twists and turns to it that, yes, it's complex, but it is extremely well positioned to put money up front, to put money in the middle, and to put huge amounts of money in the back end so that we will never, ever be looking at any other company because we can make so much here. And that's the bottom line for me. And I want to answer one question too. I've had people talk about the fact that, well, if this is an independent test, why is it shipped to Juniper, Florida? You say, well, it's postage paid. That's the most cost-effective way for the company to get it to Norway. Everybody ships it to Juniper, Florida, free postage, and then they bundle everything together in one big package and send it to Norway for us. So to me, that's again smart for the company to take the most cost-effective path. And anyway, I'm excited. Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody. Let's get to work.
Yeah, great. Okay, I got a couple other things that I want to make sure you guys have. So I'm going to actually give them to you through the chat. But before I do that, now's the time to spend money. I'm just going to give you a couple other things to think about because you really do have an advantage in some way or another, whether it's just knowing about this before everybody else, but you've got the ability to reach massive numbers, thousands of people now before they hear about it, because I saw it on, ABC. I saw a news story about it in a magazine, whatever. So do you have a list? If you've got a list, dial the phone. That right there can make the difference between, again, making $1 million or making, a few thousand. Do you have a facility? If you have a facility, then you have a totally unfair advantage. You should be cranking through a ton of numbers if you have a facility. If you don't have a facility, do you know someone who does? That's another unfair advantage. If you can get people in who have a facility. I know a lot of people with facilities. Yes, I have an unfair advantage. Yes, I'm using it. How about buying a list? Do you have a little bit of ad dollars that you can go and buy a list to market to you? Can you go get a booth or a table at an expo or a convention or a fair, and on and on and on? Those are, again, things that you could spend money on. But when you do, if you do it right, then you can make some great inroads. You can make connections. You can. Henry and I were talking about this morning, and it's like I already had it on my slide. When you go and sit all day at an expo, it's incredible what that can lead to. If you just brought on one medical professional, and that doctor, dentist, chiropractor, whatever, dietitian, spa owner, gym owner, personal trainer, that one person knows 5 others, and then all of a sudden the 5 others turn into 100 other facilities because of that one person. Happens all the time in our industry, and that requires going and spend a little bit of money. And by the way, if you're not thinking this way, you know who is? Other reps who are taking your market share. It's so critical that right now you start thinking this way. And if you can throw some money at this, now is the time to do that. And you may not see this stuff going on, but I promise you, this is happening in a big way. Henry, real quick, because we got to go fast.
Yeah, it is. For my first 6 months in any company, I take 80-90% of any money is earned, and I put it back into the business for growth.
There you go. So that is another good mindset. And you got to do your own budget. And then Henry already knocked this one out. I was going to call that person. They already signed up. And then Will talked about it right after that. So the biggest weapon we have is the test. And, I've had so many people. I said this to another chiropractor yesterday. Have you taken the test yet? No. Take the test. Get tested. Get your number. What are you doing? Well, I'm afraid that when I take the test, my number is going to stink. And then, I'm going to feel bad about the products that I've been telling everybody to get on. And my answer to that is, too bad. Zinzino, thrashing the competition again. You got to get the test out the door. That means you got to have tests to get out the door. My goal is to give 10 a month away. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing that now. And, some of the people okay, I've got to take the test, and then I got to get my score 3 weeks later, and now I've got to, retest. I got to get that score. It's already been done. We got 1.5 million people, and I don't know what the number is. If it's 500,000 of those 1.5 that got on product and improved their score, got retested, boom. It's good enough. We have that. It's already done. hey, you know what? As much as I respect you and appreciate you as an expert, as a professional, I'm not asking your opinion. We already have the data. So get in here and start marketing this thing. Yeah, there's going to be plenty of people that, you know, I got to take the test and have my own story. And that's fine, but I'm not waiting for you. And, oh, by the way, neither is the train that's taken off at 200 miles an hour down the tracks. They're not waiting. But you still want to take that attitude. Have you been tested yet? Oh, you've heard about Zinzino from 3 other people. Did they get you a test? You've not been tested? What the heck is going on here? You got to get the test. So if you talk about that and then make it clear, you know, you're going to be able to get tests to everybody else, that's when they'll figure it out and they'll say, okay, I got to go do this. One of my rules is if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Okay, there you go. I look at this every day and I think about it all the time because you know what? We don't have that many years here on this planet, and we are so blessed to be able to dictate what we do and how we do it. And so if you're not having fun, my question to you is, why are you choosing to be angry or not have fun? Not that those are the same thing, but you really, you should have fun. And this is fun and it's easy to have fun, but it's still a choice. And, you know, I went through this right out of the gate when I was 23 years old, fresh out of the Army. Everybody's hateful and angry. I don't know why everybody's walking around angry in that environment. It's a long time ago. Maybe they're all happy now. But, you know, I did not enjoy talking to people. And it was like work. And I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I went like that, 180, changed my stinking thinking. And that's step one. Do you have fun prospecting? And I struggle with this still today. It's like, you know, I got to pick up the phone and I got to, you know, talk to people. But make it fun and remind yourself, oh, yeah, this is supposed to be fun. And when you do that, it's almost hard to say that without even smiling. So make it fun. And then here's another major issue. Are you happy with your team? I hear people every day complaining about their team. I don't want to hear it, but I hear it every day. And it's part of the business. And I kind of have to, you know, listen, but you know, and I kind of have to just keep my mouth shut. But there are a lot of people that don't tolerate that kind of stuff. And they're like, I'm not listening to any negativity, you know, don't complain to me. Don't, you know, and I haven't adopted that mindset. Maybe I should, but if you're not happy with your team, if you're frustrated with your team, focus on their goals and see if you can serve them, actually go to work for them and find a way to help them and remind them that, you know, instead of talking about Fred, who's not doing X, let's talk about who is doing stuff, or let's go get new people who will do stuff. I mean, that is the only choice. And if people are not going to get happy and they're not going to get productive, you may have to fire them. You know, you may have to work with other people. And if people are complaining, if people are negative, a lot of times, sorry to say, they don't even know that they're that way. And sometimes you just got to, you know, spend your time elsewhere. And it is a tough pill to swallow. Now, when I call Michael Varbeck and I got the machine gun out and I'm pissed off about something, he doesn't like to take my call. But some things do have to be addressed. And when it's time to throw down and get angry about something, there's a time and a place. But you need to check your default. And that's not my mode. And Michael knows that for the most part, I got a smile on my face and I am super productive and I am going to focus on getting the job done. Okay. That is the key. And if you encounter people that, you know, they're productive and they're having a bad day, that's different than default and complaining and wanting somebody else to build your business and then not going and doing this right here. You got to go sponsor more people. If you're not happy with your group, go sponsor more people. That's it. That's the only solution and the only proper way to have fun and make sure that you're doing it right. And, you know, this is incredible info that I did not have access to until I was in my late 20s. It was really eye-opening. I was like, you know, body slamming people into network marketing and not enjoying the process. It was kind of fascinating. The other thing is, if people's goals are not on paper, then, you know, it's hard to hold them accountable. It's hard to really say, you know, where are you going with this? Where do you want to go? Goals on paper. Then I know. Then we can talk about what you want to do instead of what I want to do. But if you don't have goals, if you don't know where you want to go, then I can't really do a whole lot for you. If you're not attending meetings, if you're not putting your goals on paper, if you're not calling me, if your downline's not calling you, what does all of this add up to? You're trying to drag them across the finish line. They're heavy. It's hard to drag it's hard to drag a kid anywhere. I know this. So if you're trying to drag an adult, even if they only weigh 100 pounds, right? I pick up my dog food bag and it's 50 pounds. That's heavy, right? I could do it, but I'm probably not smiling and having fun in the process, right? Now, just double that for the, you know, average human, dragging them across the finish line. That's not fun. It's not going to work either. So forget about it, okay? You're not having fun. You're not doing it right. It's not going to work anyway. Stop it. Don't try to drag people across the finish line. If you're talking to someone that's not happy, if you're talking to someone that's unproductive, stop it. Just go get other people, okay? That's it right there. And, you know, a lot of times we want it more for them than they want it for themselves. And you're so frustrated and you spend time on that. And then the next thing you know, you're talking about all these people that are not working. What are you doing? You're not working. So stop it. Have fun and focus on people that are having fun. All right, here you go. I'm going to be real quick through this. It's very easy. I'm just showing all of the income over here on the right. And for new people, if you haven't hit executive yet, that's what you would make plus all the Fast Start money. If you go grab that also, that's $4,000 right there. That's pretty good. We have a number of people on this call that, you know, have gotten that money, which is cool. But executive is 3,000 credits, which is 4 people hitting the silver rank. All right, so there you go. Not that hard to do. But if you brought on 10 people with an ultimate pack at 300 credits each, that would be 3,000 credits. Boom, you'd be executive. Okay. Now in the ECBX month, again, if you don't know what that is, go read the campaigns and then, you know, try to help as many people as possible get there. Even if you didn't qualify for ECBX, you can bring on someone new in the month of May. They can hit ECBX just by buying an ultimate kit, and then they can go and rank up to ECBX. With ECBX, they can rank up to executive this month. And if you help 4 people do that, you've hit diamond, even if you don't have ECBX. Incredible. So ECBX is, again, 3,000 credits, but an ultimate kit is now 450 instead of 300. Yeah, you read that right. It's 50% higher. So you're getting 450. That means you only need 6 ultimate kits to hit the executive rank this month. Incredible. We have all of this month left, really. I mean, we got 3.5 weeks here to go and hit, get 6 ultimate kits. Again, if you've not hit executive, if you've not gotten ECBX, you can still go get 10 ultimate kits and then hit executive that way. Now, you don't have to bring everybody on. You don't have to get all 10 yourself. You could go get 2 or 3, and then they go get 2 or 3, and you've gotten your 10. Okay, I hope everybody sees that. You don't have to get all 6 yourself. You could, but you don't have to. All right, so that's how you hit executive right now this month. And then, of course, obviously the next move that you want to bust is going and getting your 4 executives who just do the exact same thing I just talked about. And then there you go. There's your pay right there. it's probably going to be a lot higher than that.